30 seconds to explain what happened last week when you lost something?
What happened last week was we lost our hotspot, which is the way that we can connect to the internet.
Oh, okay.
So, welcome.
I'm glad it was a mistake on that end, not that you guys did, but that I wasn't doing something wrong.
No, it's all good. So I'm muting everyone on Zoom, and I'm going to start with our opening.
You got to mute us?
Mm-hmm. So, welcome to Northern Lights Spiritual Center, a community of people dedicated to using spiritual and practical principles to create lives we want to live. Northern Lights Spiritual Center offers practical and spiritual tools to make positive changes in our lives. We at Northern Lights Spiritual Center acknowledge our presence here on the traditional and unceded ancestral lands of the first people of Seattle, the Duwamish and Salish peoples. These people are still here, and we join with them in how they continue to honor and bring to light their ancient heritage. We seek to resist the erasure of Indigenous histories as we work towards honoring and inviting the truth. Please join me for our opening song, or be sung to, in this very room. In this very room, there's quite enough love for all the world. And in this very room, there's quite enough joy for all the world. And there's quite enough peace and quite enough power to walk through our every fear. For Spirit, sweet Spirit, is in this very room. In this very room. So now we're going to do our meditation. And what's going to happen is, for the meditation, we're going to be hearing a song, a chant by Melissa Felipe. And the words of the chant are, "There is only one of us. In your eyes it's me I see. There is only one of us. You are my reflection." What I'm going to invite us to do during this meditation is, I'd like us to gently close our eyes and allow ourselves to imagine facing a series of people. They may be our ancestors, mothers, fathers. They may be people that we encounter on a daily basis. They may be people who inspire us. They may be people that annoy us. The invitation is simply to open in a way that we receive whoever it is that our imagination and the spirit within draws to mind. So hit it, Maestro. reflection in the eyes of all of those different people. Remember that sense of oneness. Each one of us is an individualized expression of the one light, the one power, the one presence. in that recognition of oneness. Just become aware of the feelings and the sensations, the thoughts that have arisen. Notice if there's any particular spot in the body where this is particularly felt. And just take a moment and give thanks to that part of your body. That part that has opened you to this experience. And with our sensations shifted to the body, notice where you are, if you're standing or sitting. Notice your fingers and toes. Notice the feeling of breath coming in your mouth or nose. The sensation of breath leaving through your mouth and nose. And as you are ready, open your eyes again. Come back to this space. And I say, Amen, Ashe, and so it is. So now as the Vaughn Show continues, this reading today comes from a series of reflections from one of the Centers for Spiritual Living's community leaders. It's a minister named Rev. David Alexander. And David is fairly well known because he's one of the younger ministers in this movement, and he's someone who is not hesitant to speak out with respect to the delivery of justice. That justice is part of the Global Heart Vision. So he wrote to the community that whiteness is a false construct and a diseased form of consciousness that sits at the heart of collective dysfunction. Whiteness is not a group. These comments are not about any group of people. It's about a form of consciousness, which is ultimately what whiteness is. It's a mental construct which affects the way that everyone, including people of color, live and move through the world. Whiteness is a false belief operating in consciousness. That's the source, one of the sources of our divided country. Consciousness is cause. Consciousness is also solution. Healing requires the divesting of whiteness and its false ideas and insistence on superiority and exceptionalism. And this is my own aside. Whiteness has been established as the way, as the measuring post to which everything must line up. Whiteness restricts and dismisses and pushes aside all other ways of thinking and being in the world. It's okay to struggle. Identifying with white is what many white people like me have done, if not most, if not all of our lives. But it was a constructed lie that we were asked or indoctrinated to accept. We must, if we wish to be free, decolonize our own minds for the sake of our vision of a world that works for everyone. In the liberation process from whiteness, you get your whole self back. And again, my own aside, a good friend of mine, Shane, has identified that even within communities of color, there are prejudices that have come about as a way to respond to whiteness, so that being lighter was seen as better than being darker. No one is asking you to feel bad if you're Caucasian. However, we must all examine the ways in which whiteness has affected our thinking, assumptions, behaviors, expectations. You are not white, nor am I. Whiteness, and race in general, is a false social and mental construct. It really doesn't exist except as a label that has gotten put on people. I believe consciousness is cause, and thus consciousness is also cure or solution. Whiteness affects everyone. You are not your feelings. Your feelings are your teacher. Examine with compassion, and you'll uncover false beliefs. Again, whiteness is not skin tone. It's a mental construct. And we have to move our way through the discomfort this raises to get free. Because whiteness is a way of thinking, believing, and behaving, we can indeed change it. And again, just to step back, one of the reasons for declaring this is that the mob of terrorists that shut down Congress was primarily a white mob. And the police response to it was completely different than how it responded to the people that marched in Black Lives Matter. Police took selfies with the white mob. Somebody told the white mob how to get there. The number of arrests after the Black Lives Matter march in Ferguson was closer to 300. On the day of the mob terrorism in D.C., there were 5 arrests. Now, there have been more since then. I just want to give the context, and so it is. So, this month's chant, and Michael's going to pull it up so you can read it. I look to the wisdom that feeds hearts and souls. I learn from the teachings that make me more whole. I sip from the fountain that quenched my life's thirst. I feast on truth. I feast on eternal truth that places me first. To see, to be, to become one with expanding divinity. Look to the wisdom that's fed hearts and souls. I learn from the teachings that make me more whole. I sip from the fountains that quench my life's thirst. I feast on eternal truth that places me first. To see, to be, to become one with expanding divinity. Now you look to the wisdom that fed hearts and souls. You learn from the teachings that make you more whole. You sip from the fountains that quench your life's thirst. You feast on eternal truth that places you first. To see, to be, to become one with expanding divinity. Now we look to the wisdom that fed hearts and souls. We learn from the teachings that make us more whole. We sip from the fountains that quench our life's thirst. We feast on eternal truth that places us first. To see, to be, to become one human souls. I learn from the teachings that make me more whole. I sip from the mountains and quench my life's thirst. I feast on eternal truth that places me first to see, to be, to become one with expanding divinity. And here is Mykal's pre-talk song. Oh, that wasn't it. This is a musician named Antion, and the song's title is To Love, Serve, and Remember.
Why have we come to earth? Do you remember? Why have we taken birth? Do you remember? To
are rushing up against the shoulder. Well, good morning. For those of you who don't know, I'm Rev.Mykal Amaré, and today's talk's title is Who We Are, or Who Are We, and What We Believe. Northern Lights and Science of Mind stand for philosophy, spirituality, and the way of life, grounded in the principles of love and law. Love which recognizes our oneness and celebrates our diversity. Law, which is the power of creation that is forever at work, manifesting inner consciousness in outer form. This is true whether we are talking about an individual life or the life of the nation. Therefore, we recognize that our spiritual and social lives rest on taking personal responsibility for the effects of our beliefs and the way those beliefs become words and actions. And that was by Reverend Dr. Petra Wellness of CSL Dallas. And there's a few things in here today, I'm not going to repeat her name constantly, but that I have borrowed from her because she is wise, and it brings to life a lot of my same feelings. The song that played, Love, Serve, and Remember, it took me a while to come up with that for today. And just to think about why, asking why we are here. And those three little words, to love, to serve, and remember. And I believe that we forget that frequently, or I forget it frequently. Because right now our country appears that we're, it is divided. I mean, we could say it appears or whatever, but the fact is that it is divided. In so many ways, and politically, and races, religion, economically, and in the violence, and insurrection, and sedition that happened on Wednesday, some people say we're better than this. That this is not who we are. Well, the fact is, this is who we are. Unfortunately, it brings out the worst of us. Years past, a lot of this racial and white supremacy was kind of undercover. It was kind of, behind the screen. Don't look behind the screen and you won't see it. However, in the last 4 years, there's been an administration that has helped bring it forward into the forefront. There was and as Reverend Vaughn added to part of the meeting today with the Black Lives Matter, there's an article in today's Seattle Times about the difference between how the Black Lives Matter people are treated and the people that were, at the White House, or anytime, not just there, but anytime, basically white people march out and there's violence. And it says, I suggest you read the whole article. It's very well done, I think. Anyway, part of it is the Black Lives Matter Global Network Foundation put it this way on Twitter. When black people protest for our lives, we are all too often met by National Guard troops or police equipped with assault rifles, shields, tear gas, and battle helmets. When white people attempt a coup, they are met by an underwhelming number of law enforcement personnel who act powerless to intervene, going so far as to pose for selfies with terrorists. screen. And, you know, we believe in oneness, and I do believe in oneness. However, there are parts of us that act in a way that do not believe. I believe they don't believe in oneness, and where we believe too that, you know, according to our articles, that we believe that we are each an individualized expression of God, and that I firmly believe, and we're at choice in this individualized expression. We are at choice. We were given that free will and choice when we were created. But somehow in this free will and choice, a lot of us do not want to take responsibility for our actions. Like in the first part where I read that we recognize that our spiritual and social lives rest on taking personal responsibility. I just want to say, when are people going to take their personal responsibility for the actions, for the choices they make? It's always somebody else's fault. And I've been guilty, saying that, you know, it's somebody else's fault for this or that, or if the situation would have been different. But ultimately, it is I made that choice. Like there was at Wednesday, there was a newly installed representative from West Virginia who was in that crowd. And by his choice, now he has resigned. I mean, he was in office for what, all of 5 days, maybe, after being sworn in last Sunday. There's a choice. I mean, and there's some Seattle police officers that are on suspension for taking part in the whatever you want to call it that went on Wednesday. So, you know, we believe that we are individualized expressions of God, and yet we need to take responsibility for our choices and the free will, the decisions that we make. And we believe in the incarnation of that Spirit in everyone. That is a tough one. That is a tough one to see, that you look at how people act, and you ask that question: how can that be an expression of the divine? That's the Spirit in everyone, and that all people are incarnations of the one Spirit. It is hard to fathom sometimes that these people are the same as us in a lot of ways, except for their decisions that they make. We deny that there is any spiritual validity to any belief, consciousness, ideology, or person who sows hatred, believes power and money are our primary values. We deny that spiritual validity, in that power and money are our primary values, because they're not. Today, we do not succumb to fear, to anger, hatred, or violence. Yet we are willing to call out and say no to that which is not in alignment with any spirituality or world faith, nor the vision of our democracy. This is not, on Wednesday, was not what our forefathers, our founders, I never use that word, but our founders envisioned. Part of the Senate and the House's responsibility on that day were to just go in and say yes on the votes, the electoral votes that came in from all the states. But instead, with the insurrection and sedition of a few that seeded the fear, seeded the hatred in these people, that didn't happen right away. They were basically taken hostage. And that is not what our democracy is. Our democracy is not taking other people hostage. Just like in Michigan, they were going to kidnap and maybe even hang the governor there a few months ago. That is not. I like to say that is not who we are. But in reality, it is. It's very sad, it's disgusting, it's shitty. I'm sorry, but it is. It's just that way. Leaders spoke their hope for the new year. I went on the web and found this because I wanted to see what they were saying, and a lot of most of the governors here, or around the world, not governors, but leaders around the world, they were saying that most of them were speaking about the light at the end of the tunnel, and they were talking mostly about the coronavirus and stuff, because now that there is the vaccine out, and they were, and that is a positive. That's something to be positive and hopeful about. Boris Johnson, Prime Minister of British Isles, I guess.
United Kingdom.
United Kingdom. Said, but just before we do, I want to remind you that this was also the year when we rediscovered a spirit of togetherness and community. I could buy that, but there could be a lot more togetherness of community. I mean, there has been, and hopefully we can see more of that. And Justin Trudeau said that we have seen acts of senseless violence that have devastating impacts on our communities, and calls for justice from radicalized Canadians and Indigenous peoples, demanding that we act now to address racism, discrimination, and injustice in our country. That's the Prime Minister of Canada. I believe that needs to be addressed all over the world. And then Mr. Trump, in a video, thanked Americans for showing incredible grit, strength, tenacity, and resolve in the past year, but then went on to talk about himself. President-elect Joe Biden shared a New Year's Eve message calling for the nation to unite, heal, and rebuild this year. The challenge we have faced as a nation will not disappear overnight. A lot of them haven't disappeared over, 400 years? He added, after a year of pain and loss, let us unite, heal, and rebuild. Now that is, to me, is a huge mouthful. It is good to keep that in focus, but it's going to take everybody. He cannot do it alone. His vice president cannot do it alone. Actually, the government can't do it alone, but it's got to start somewhere. It's got to start somewhere and take responsibility and stand up for what is right. Last night we watched Wonder Woman again. You can never get enough Wonder Woman. And she said to Ares, the war god, the god of war, after Ares had said to her that the humanity, everyone in the human form was filled with hate. And she said, something no hero will ever defeat. And now I know that only love truly can save the world. So I stay, I fight, and I give for the world I know can be, what the world can be. And it's like, we cannot assume that everyone is an example of Wednesday. I mean, it was shown around the world, and it was interesting that when you see it from their TV, from their newscast, that's something that we normally see in other countries. We don't see it here. We don't, it's, well, it hasn't happened since, I think it was 1812, or somewhere in that area. I wasn't around, so I don't remember. But the idea that, we're created in love, from love, as love. And some of us have forgotten that. Some of us have forgotten a lot of stuff. And how can we remind them of who they are? Remind ourselves of who we are. And today we stand with and for those who take responsibility to create a democracy and a nation that continually aspires to live our highest ideals, recognizing that we have fallen short in so many ways and for so many people. We continue to celebrate every advance that takes us closer to truly living these ideals. We continue to celebrate every advance that takes us closer to truly living these ideals. We see in the march of time that we have expanded and grown our attempt to live the highest aspirations of our nation. Our nation's soul has expanded and grown beyond a fear-based, narrowly defined identity which seeks power, money, prestige over creating a civil society in which fulfilled individual lives meaningfully contribute and thrive. This has been demonstrated this past year in comparing the hundreds of thousands who marched all summer, all over the country, all over the world, for the lives and equality of our black brothers and sisters, compared to the paltry tens of hundreds, who have marched for personal power, fear, hatred, and white supremacy. And today we resolve to use the powerful rhetoric of spirituality, inclusion, progressive economics, justice, equality, and environmental sustainability to show our passionate love and our use of the law to further our nation from our deepest spiritual understanding. And today, we unabashedly use our spiritual power to lift consciousness to a higher vibration and a deepened resonance with love, power, peace, and abundance for all. That's for all, not just a few. That's love, power, peace, abundance for all. So many times people think when you say power. I did. First of all, when I was in practitioner training, I never liked the word power, because to me power was like the power of the people being oppressed, the power from the top, which it doesn't mean. It means our own personal power, because we each have a personal power. We are strong. We are courageous. We have power. And today we work to hold accountable those who have used position and power to inflame, divide, and sought to undermine our democracy and the moral compass of a spiritually informed and inclusive society. To hold accountable these people that are trying to undermine this country and our lives, our individual lives. And today we have, once again, been exposed. This is not the soul of our spirituality, nor the soul of our nation. We stand with and for those who are passionately disagreeing on form and function. Disagreement's good. Come together to seek the middle way, the third way, while respects differences and seeks a way through that honors all our needs. That we come together and find a way to honor each other's ideas, each other's beliefs, just basically to honor each other. Why is it so damn hard to do that? To listen to each other. You don't have to agree 100%, because disagreement, I think, is good. Because disagreement brings out conversation, brings out discussion. And that leads to a greater good. We may never fully live up to them, just as we may not yet walk on water. I walk through water, but I don't walk on water. But this does not mean that we should not keep working together towards those high ideals. We should not give up. To keep working together. To keep leaning in, moving forward, instead of backwards like we've been going. It is a vision that pulls when we no longer need to be pushed by pain. If we have those high ideals and that vision, that'll pull us forward. That'll move us forward. Not push us with the pain of the past. That pain is something to be, I don't want to say honored, maybe, because it is part of who we are, who each individual is. We've gone through pain in the past. But if we can try to move through that pain and not carry it around like this huge bag of garbage or luggage to weigh us down. So allow this vision to pull us forward, this vision to lead us into a promised land. Let this be the last time our nation is pushed by the pain of racism, fear-mongering, hunger for power, and the blindness of economic greed. that would be a world that works for everyone. If this was the last time, where people no longer have to go hungry, to go without a roof over their head, to worry when they walk into a place that the color of their skin could get them killed. But the vision of our faith, our spirituality, and our nation pulls forward together. I realize it is hard to work with people that may hate you, that do hate you, or consider you less than, different. It's hard. But I believe that is the only way we can move through it, move forward for a better life, a better country, so that everyone can pursue that happiness which is guaranteed each person in this country. The pursuit of happiness, life and liberty. Not just for some, but for all people. So the homework today, for this week, and forever. This is forever homework. It's simple. It's just to pray for our country, and all of its people that live and dwell within it. And I want to close with, this was going around this week. It's a prayer that, it's called A Prayer for Our Country, that Ernest Holmes wrote back in July of 1953. Believing in the divine destiny of the United States of America and in the preservation of liberty, security, and self-expression for all, I offer this, my prayer for my country. I know that success, prosperity, and happiness are the gifts of freedom and are the divine heritage of everyone in this country. I know that success, prosperity, happiness are now operating in the affairs of every individual in this country. I know that divine guidance enlightens the collective mind of the people of this country, causing it to know that economic security may not come to all without the loss of either personal freedom or individual self-expression. I know that no one can believe or be led to believe that freedom must be surrendered in order to ensure economic security for all. Just want to read that line one more time. I know that no one can believe or be led to believe that freedom must be surrendered in order to ensure economic security for all. The all-knowing mind contains the answer to every problem which confronts this country. I know that every leader in this country is now directed by this all-knowing mind and has the knowledge of a complete solution to every problem. Each is compelled to act upon this knowledge to the end that abundance, security, and peace shall come to all. And I know that this spiritual democracy shall endure, guaranteeing to everyone in this country personal liberty, happiness, and self-expression. so it is. I want to thank everyone for being here, and apologize again to those on Zoom that last week we had a little snafu, but we're back in it today. I'll let you know that we'll be here next week, same time, same station, and Reverend Pamela Grace Beatty will be speaking. And this month we have 5 Sundays. So the 5th Sunday is what we call Practitioner Sunday, and our practitioner Stephanie Scranton will be speaking. And if anyone would like to contribute, you can go to our website, which is Northern Lights Spiritual Center.com. Should remember that. And hit the donate button. Anything is appreciated. And I want to give thanks for everyone that shows up every Sunday. Or shows up when you show up. Because it's you showing up that gives life to the center. Whether it's in person, on Zoom, on Facebook, wherever. Because you are the heart, you are the soul of this community. And I give thanks for that. I give thanks for each person that has ever been a part of this community. Because a strong community, we build a strong community, a safe community. A safe space and place where we can come and commune with each other. And so I give thanks for each person here today. I give thanks for my life and for the life of this country. And I say, and so it is.